Hey everyone. Am I live over there too? Hi. Hey guys. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm actually gonna be working on this table, which is crazy. It boggles the mind. It's a boggles game. This is a very messy table. This is like everything table. Uh, Fingernail polish, and it's not like I'm even removing any fingernail polish. So it's this table has a little bit of everything on it. This is another part of my studio. This is actually a different part of my studio. This is more like the back part of my studio. So I'm a little, oh, we're normally on that side of my studio. Today we're over here in my studio. So this is towards the back part of my studio. And so this table, it's like the further I move back, the messier things get. So we're actually going to be doing some stuff, doing some things. I'm trying out some new stuff. And here is this table. I normally like, I do like little weird jewelry, like see these. These are really cool earrings because nobody makes clip-on. So I made my own little clip-on earrings, and I, do my little clip-on earrings and just other wild stuff. So you can see these are my little clip-on earrings that I've made, and they're just fun and they're funky. I call them my artsy earrings. That's something that I do at this table. Here's another pair of funky earrings that I've made too. I love these. So, look at these because I just do clip-ons, and so I just like kind of making little weird odd to tease. I call them odd to tease. And then I do little bracelets. So this is a leather and metal bracelet. Can you see that? It's a leather and metal bracelet. And so I got it all glued down except for this part. And so I'm going to re-glue that. I'm going to glue that part, and then it'll be perfect. And actually, it's really pretty bracelet, and I really like it. It's black, and then it has the silver tips here, which is kind of cool. So if you hear noise in the background, my studio is my home, so it's my children. So today we're actually going to be working on something different and new because I'm doing creative quarantine, and so trying different things and new things are an interesting part of creative quarantine, as well as doing some of your own things. So over here I have lots and lots of leather. I mean, I have like leather because I used to do leather purses, but I don't do leather purses anymore. But it's like I have to dig through things though to find some of the things that I want. So this I was looking all over for because it was buried in all of this leather. Hi, how are you? It was buried in all this leather. So what we're going to work on today is I made this some time ago, this right here. And so I kind of think of Creative Quarantine as a time to kind of reinvent some of the things that you've made, go back and finish some of the things that you hadn't finished, and just re-look at some of the things that you had finished, but it's still sitting in your studio. So this little thing, I really like it. And I did this a while ago. Hey, how's it going? I did this a while ago. And so I'm going to look at it and see what I want to do. And so I decided that I wanted to add some leather to it. So I'm looking at it to see and adding some leather to it and just see what I want to do, because I have like some cool stuff like this, which is leather strapping, which is awesome. And then I just have leather strips. And so I'm actually thinking of possibly doing some nice leather strips like this along the face. So that's one of the things I'm looking at doing is like taking some leather stripping and kind of doing it this way and taking it along the entire face, not on all of them, but on, maybe the two and leaving the center silver, or doing the center and leaving the two sides silver. So just kind of trying to get an idea of what I might do. But I think I'm going to do the two sides and then leave the center silver. I think that's what I'm going to do. But like I said, this is a time for me to like explore, experiment, have a little fun, and just kind of do some fun and funky things. There's a serious vibration in here. I'm like, where's that vibration coming from? So it could be like the heater or something. But so yeah, I'm trying to, let's see, go so more like this, where I just take it all along, and then I think I want to go along that way too. Can you see that? Hold on, hold on. It's kind of hard to see that way, but see, sort of like that, and then doing the two sides and then leaving the center. But now it's a matter of, do I want to do it in a brown or this really cool, look at that blue? Do I want to do it in a really cool blue? Or I have, and I don't know if this green would go all the way because the green is just in bits and pieces. And then I thought, well, maybe I just want to take bits and pieces along it and then kind of, you know, patchwork it. So I'm thinking that too, because I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm thinking I might want to take it and just patchwork it with several different kinds of leather on to here, and then seeing what that looks like, seeing if I like it, seeing if this is the direction I want to go. So what I want to do is kind of look at the different leathers I have, because I definitely want to use that green because I really, really like that green. And this blue, I just want to use some of this blue. So I'm going to cut this piece. And then like these right here, these are leather scissors. So I'm going to cut here because I'm going to take that blue piece because I really like that blue. So I'm going to put that there. And then I know I had some red somewhere. This is really pretty too. It's not red, but I think I have some red somewhere. So I'm going to cut a piece of that. And I know I had some red somewhere over the rainbow. Okay, so hold on. Oh, there's some white, so we'll definitely use that. And that's a pretty cool brown. So let me look on the floor here because I do have some on the floor. I'm just gonna pick these up off the floor. I got a bunch of stuff on the floor here, so I'm gonna bring this. All of this is on the floor. So I'm gonna bring this over. Yes, I have tons of things on my floor too. And so there's a red. That's a pretty red. So I'll take a piece of that as well. But I want to be cautious where I cut it from because that would make a nice bracelet too. Because I like making bracelets. And so I want to make sure I cut it from somewhere where it won't affect how I do a bracelet. So I would probably cut my bracelet from this one because it's straight. And this one's not bad, but it has a little curve in it. So I'm just going to I'm going to take a piece of this because this is it's a heavy leather. So I don't think I would take this and run it along the whole thing because it's really heavy. It's a heavy leather and it looks more like a baseball leather. So actually when I use it, I'm actually going to turn it this way. And actually I might just cut a nice little long piece of this. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut a nice little long piece of that red because now I decided. And so this right here is a leather cutter. And I use this like in between. I don't know if you can see it. There is a little tiny blade in between it. And you use it to cut your leather into strips. And so I'm going to look at this and see how wide this is. I'm going to look to see how wide this is because that's how wide I want the leather to be. So I'm going to unloosen that and kind of measure this out. And it looks like it's about it looks like it's about 2 inches. And so now I'm going to come right here and put this at 2 inches, but I'm going to go a little over 2 inches because I can always cut it down. So I'm going to go a little over 2 inches. But the one thing that I forgot to do, what's that? Oh, okay. So one thing I forgot to do was to see how thick this leather is, because I have to put this leather through here. So I forgot to check how thick the leather is. So let me see how thick it is and make sure that it goes through the opening that I set up. And it does. It goes through the opening that I set up. So I'm going to put it in here. The one problem I am going to have, it has a little bow in it, but that's okay. I'm going to still cut it, and then I can always go from there and try to do some fixing. Now I have to put it through and see where it's hitting, because I need to change this blade, and I have not changed the blade. And so I'm going to put it in and see exactly where it's hitting, and I can see where it's hitting. So I'm going to get it started for it. I'm just going to cut into it just like that, just to get it started, because like I said, I need to redo this blade. So I'm going to put this back in. Put this back in where I cut. So that's what I'm doing. What did you say the money for? Oh, okay. So I'm going to put this in like this, and hopefully I cut it in the right place. Those are from the office. Yeah. Hopefully I cut these in the right place. That's my son. I was talking to my son. Not to myself, to my son. So I'm going to, hopefully I put this in the right place, or at least hopefully I cut it in the right place. So I'm going to sit it through here, and what I do is I send this through, and yeah, it's not the easiest thing. Not this one. I think I might have cut it wrong. Yeah, I did. I cut it in the wrong spot. So it's over a little bit more. And like I said, it's going to be weird anyway, because this isn't going, it's not straight. And I already know it's not straight. But that's okay. I don't care. I don't care, because I'm going to move some stuff around. So you can see it right there. And so now I'm going to pull it. But like I said, this blade probably needs to be, so now I'm going to pull it through. But like I said, this blade has been in here for a while. So I don't know if you can see that. Can you see? You can see it pulling through. There we go. So I'm just going to keep pulling it. So it's going to be a little bit on a curve. As you can see, it's a little on a curve there. So now I have this strap. Ta-da! And that's how you do that. And then now I'm going to just look at it on here. And I know it's going to be kind of weird, but I kind of like that. I like that little red color. So I'm going to actually glue this onto here like that. Can you see it? And then I think I'm going to add some more things to it. I don't know. Like I said, this is just something fun that I'm doing. So I'm going to find some glue. And the one glue that I really like there were several glues that I like. I've tried so many different glues for that. I've tried this glue and this glue and this glue and this epoxy. Actually, I like the epoxy a little better than all the other stuff. Like this epoxy, I liked a lot better than some of the other stuff, which this is the epoxy right here. And so I did like that a little better. You can see I know this table is an absolute nightmare. So we're going to actually use this epoxy because I actually like the epoxy better, and it did a better stick. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to put it on here. We're going to stick it to here. And I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to wipe it off. It's like, yes, I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit. And it already has a little bit of a texture on it. So that's the nice part about it, is that it does already have a little bit of texture on it. And then I'm going to do this one too. So first we're going to do this one, and then I'm going to do the other one. So first off, we're going to mix our epoxy. So I'm going to get a little spot over here so that I can mix some epoxy. I just need a little space, make a little space, and then I'm just going to use, I just kind of use whatever's out. I got all kinds of stuff over here in this space, but it's all like leather stuff, which I like. So I'm just going to take a part of this plastic right here so that I can mix my epoxy, because whatever I mix my epoxy on is just going to get thrown out. And so I'm not going to get all glamorous about it and be like, I'm mixing my epoxy on blah, blah, blah. I'm not. So, and I got these little toothpicks to stir my epoxy. So I'm going to mix my epoxy right on this piece of plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of this one and squeeze that on. And I'm going to squeeze quite a bit because that's a pretty long, narrow area. So I'm going to squeeze quite a bit of that. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to squeeze some of that on. And I'm trying to make it almost the exact same dropping size. You definitely want to do that. So now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to mix it. I'm going to mix these two together. Mix these two together. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Good. So, all right. So that's a good mix. And I'm just going to mix them because I want them really, really, really mixed well. And I should have brought a little tiny brush over, but I didn't. So I'm going to grab a little tiny brush really quick. So let me grab a really tiny brush over here. Because that's one of the things I forgot to do. I'm going to grab this one. Yeah, that one. All right, so this is why it's important to keep a lot of tiny, inexpensive brushes in your collection. So, tiny brush. It's always good to keep inexpensive brushes around. Why? Because of these kind of projects. Because you have to throw them out most of the time. They have to go in the trash. So, now I'm just going to use my brush and put this epoxy on. So I'm just going to brush the epoxy on to this piece. And I want to try to cover the whole piece. I know. Woo. This is some sticky epoxy. It is not, it's not like regular glue. You definitely need to know what you're doing if you're going to use this sticky epoxy, because it will start drying on you. So I'm trying to work quickly to keep that from happening too fast. I know. It's like, doot. So, and then now I'm looking at it. I don't know if I mixed enough of it, but we'll see. Like I said, this is all experimental. So, however it works out, however it happens, that's what we're going for, right? And it might be enough and it may not be enough, but we're going to keep moving and keep doing. Keep moving and keep doing. So I'm going to stop right there because I'm not sure how long this piece is. So I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm just going to start laying it on because I don't want to go too far with it and then it doesn't fit the whole thing. So it's definitely adhering well. I love that part of it. So we're going to keep going down. Oh, you know what? I thought I said I was going to do it on the other side, but I guess I'm doing it this way because I've already started. So I guess this is the way it's going on. This is the way it obviously wanted to go on. So there we go. Can you see that? There. And then like anything extra, I'll cut if I don't want it. So there we go. And then I'm just going to take the rest of the epoxy because it looks like it's long enough to do a little more. So I'm going to put some more epoxy here. And I'm going to put some more epoxy a little further down. There we go. Because it looks like it's long enough to go a little further down. I'm not quite sure how far, but definitely, let's see, but I think that's all the epoxy. Oh, we got a little bit more, so maybe we do have enough to finish it. We'll see. Okay, so there. All right, so it looks like we had enough epoxy. Look at that. I love that. Do you love that? I love this. Look at that. So it looks like we have enough epoxy to do the whole entire thing. And now we're just gonna let that epoxy dry. And then I'll cut that little extra piece right here off. But I absolutely love, 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 love this. So this is really nice. And I want to make sure I'm squeezing it because I want to make sure that it's fitting snug in these spaces. Because that's where you get some rise, and I really don't want rise in it. And so I'm trying to make sure that it fits snugs in these places, like right in here. So I'm going to push it up so that it's right in there, and then I'm going to push this up so that it fits right where it needs to fit, and then this fits right where it needs to fit. So I want to make sure those spaces are all fitting the way they're supposed to. And this epoxy takes a minute to dry. It does. Because it's so slick. It just feels so slippery at times. And so I already know that I'll be coming back and forth and moving these around, making sure that they stay in the position that I put them in and that they're not coming up and moving around too much. Because I wanted to make sure that it's snug on here, because if it's not snug, then it's not going to stay. So I want to make sure that it's snug on there. There we go. And so that it will stay. So anytime I look at it and I might see an air bubble here, I want to make sure that I get rid of that air bubble. Or if I see spacing somewhere, I want to make sure I get rid of that spacing. You can see right here, it's still coming up a little bit right there. And I still have a little bit of epoxy on here. So I'm going to put this last bit of epoxy right here. Just go ahead and put some more epoxy since I have a little bit still. And I'm going to keep working because, like I said, that brush will not last long once that epoxy starts setting up. And I want to do another color. And I think I'm going to attach another color underneath the chin area. And I'm just going to play around with this because I really, really like what I've done so far. You see that? That's pretty cool. So we're going to do another strip over here. And we could either do another strip of the red, which I'm totally digging. So I think I will do another strip of the red, or I could do a strip of blue. I have either one. I have plenty of red, so I can do another strip of the red, which I'm thinking I might do, or maybe a blue, but I think I'm going to do another strip of the red because it's really, really cool. And so I'm going to grab this again and create my pathway. See where my pathway is. Like you saw how long it took me. You saw how long it took me to cut the last one, right? So hopefully I'll get it right the first time. Yeah, it's like this leather. This is a very heavy leather, and so I'm gonna go ahead and start the line again, and hopefully this time I at least get it in the right place to start. So there we go. So I think I did. I think I got it in the right place. It looks like it's in the right place. So now I'm just gonna feed it up. Feed it up. Come on. There we go. And so I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull it and see if it comes. It doesn't seem to want to come. I might have to cut it. I'm going to cut it a little bit more so I can feed it up. But, I mean, and this is the one that I use. You can always get something a little different. so that it is a little easier to cut leather straps. But this is the leather strap cutter I've chosen. You don't have to choose this leather strap cutter, but this is the one I've chosen when I'm making. Um, I call them. They're not bracelets. They're um, I call them little cuffs. When I make cuffs, I use this to make the cuffs. And so this one, I might actually turn this one on this side. So I might do this one on the side that I originally said I was going to do and make it a little different from that one. See that I might make this one a little different from that one. And so I might have one turned that way and one turned this way. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make this one a little different. I'm going to turn this one in the opposite direction and just see what it looks like. Like I said, this is all, having some fun, doing some stuff. I call it doing random stuff. Doing random stuff and having fun doing it. So I'm going to do some more. I'm going to go ahead and put some more of this on. And then, I'm thinking I'm going to just add some other things. I might add some beads to it. I don't know. I might add some, I don't know, just that stuff. I might add some other stuff to it. So we'll see. And like I said, I'm going to add another color in there. I'm going to add another color to it. I got all of my epoxy at the bottom. I'm just going to squeeze it all up. Squeeze it up so when I do the next thing, it's not all, I'm not chasing it because it's all at the bottom. All right, so I'm going to mix this. I'm going to mix this one. I'm not even sure how I held this. I think it was this way. So now I'm going to mix this one. Mix that up. Mix this epoxy up. And then, there we go. Mixing my epoxy. Can you see that? I want to make sure you can see it. So I'm just going to mix this up. I know my brush is stuck to the plastic, which is good because it's not going to fall off and get into anything. So I'm mixing the epoxy up. I'm just going to mix all of that epoxy up. Hey, how's it going? So that's what I'm doing, mixing epoxy. Ta-da! All right, so now that epoxy is mixed up, and I'm going to get the excess off of here and put it on the brush. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did over there is start brushing the epoxy on to this part. So, and like I said, these brushes, once I'm done with this brush, it is, it's just going to be thrown out because there's just no way I'm going to get the epoxy off of it. So here we go. And definitely, if you guys want to see more of, what I'm doing and what some of the other artists are doing in Creative Quarantine, definitely check us out. You can find us on Facebook on the Creative Quarantine Facebook page, Larry Poncho Brown. Also, it posts on my Facebook page as well. So you can definitely check it out on my page. You can follow along with what we're doing. It's actually pretty exciting. We have quite a few people that follow us every day, see what's new. You'll be able to buy some of the artwork from Creative Quarantine online. We will be selling some of our artwork during the Creative Quarantine, so you definitely want to kind of check that out and stay tuned and be around for the sale when we start doing the sale, when we start selling stuff. Definitely want to be around for that because you'll be able to pick up some really great artwork from the artist for great prices because, like I said, it's Creative Quarantine. Some things we'll be trying new things. Some things will be just experimenting on, like what I'm doing right now. Some things we'll just be experimenting on. Other things, will be our branded work, things that we're known for. Like me, I'm known for metal leafing and doing that kind of stuff. So some of it will be our actual branded things, and other things will be things that we've tried, experimented on, and just had some fun with. So definitely come on in, tune in, check us out, see what we're doing. All right, so it's funny because I didn't use as much on that side as I did on the other side, which is kind of weird. I'm just going to look and make sure that I hit all of the spots with this, because then I want to make sure that everything is stuck on. I want to make sure everything is stuck on. So I'm going to turn this, like I said, I did like it when I turned it the other way, so I'm going to turn it the other way. Uh-oh, I got that on my clothes. I hope that comes out. I really do hope that comes out. I just bought this sweater, so I'm hoping that is not going to stay on my sweater. So hope with me, people. Hope with me. So, because I don't think I have anything to get that out. So there we go. And now I'm just going to go the contour of the face. We're just going to go the contour of the face and keep going. Keep going. Huh. Now this is odd because this one did not go. It's the same piece, but obviously cut smaller. Obviously, every time I cut it, and that's one of the things you'll notice. Like every time I cut it, it cuts smaller. It gets smaller. So as you can see, we have that one on there, and it did not go as far down as the other one, which is okay. It's not a big deal if it doesn't go as far down as the other one. We're going to make sure that stays right there, because remember I said I'm going to add another color, and I think the other color that I'm going to add on here is that green, because I really liked that green color that I have. So I think I'm going to add that green color on here, that green leather color. And I want to make sure that this is where it's supposed to be, because you see how that's sitting up? And I definitely don't want anything sitting up. So I'm looking at this one and I'm looking at the other one to make sure that we don't have anything sitting up. You can see that little piece. Oh, that's that little piece, that little extra piece I had to cut the first time, isn't that? All right, so have a look at that. So we have one on one side and one. So we have a reverse. And so they're both the same piece of leather, only I did one on the one side of the leather and the other one on the other side of the leather and put it on there. And I love what is happening. I love how this is turning out. I really do. I love how this is turning out. This is starting to set. And so now we're just going to let this set. So I think this is pretty awesome, putting that leather on there. Look at that. I know, isn't that cool? I am loving this and having that center. But now I'm like, oh, do I want to leave it center? I think I do, because I like it. I like the way it looks. So I think what I might do is run something in here. I think I might run like a color in this part of the center one down. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I think that would be kind of cool. So I'm going to cut out another piece. I'm going to see which color that I want to do. And I know I really like the green. So I think I'm going to go for that green. Let me straighten that out, because I don't want it not straight. And I'm trying to see if this is going to dry. Trying to see if this is going to dry on me. I'm just going to do this because it might not. It might just be a little bit on there. It did get on my shirt a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to dab a little of this because this is like a paint thinner. Yes, it is. To me, it is. It's like a paint thinner. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of this on here because I'll be able to get that off. There we go. So I just dabbed a little bit of that. I can see the little square on my shirt. So there. I just dabbed a little bit of that on there and just wiping my fingers off because it's on my fingers. So I'm going to look at, this is the green. This is the green. So I'm actually thinking that I might want to put this green right here. So I'm going to look at that because I think that would be kind of cool. But actually I'm looking, I think I'm going to turn it over this way. I think I'm going to turn it over this way to put that green in there. You see that green? Or maybe this way. Look at that. You see the green in there? So, but I think I am going to do the green because I really, really like this green. And I might take the green. I'm going to center this a little better. This side definitely needs a little more attention than the other side did. So I just want to make sure that it's centered right, and that it's not moving so much because this one looks like it's moving a little more than the other side. And I think it's because of the side I put it on. This is the texture side, and this is facing the texture side, and this is facing the smooth side. So that's probably why it's doing that. So I'm gonna cut this green because I really like this green leather. So I'm gonna cut this green leather and run it down there. But I'm also thinking about taking the green leather and running it down these two because I think that would be kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this green leather. So let's see. I want to sit this here without it so that it doesn't move too much. So I'm going to sit it right here. That way I don't think it'll move too much if I sit it like that. There we go. All right. Get together. All right. Maybe if I sit it on that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take our little cutter, and I do have a couple of pieces of green, not a lot of green. So here's a piece of green too. So I'm trying to look at the green and see where I can cut from because I want to try to make an even cut, but all of this green is just like all over the place. This green, I don't know if I'd be able to get an even cut anywhere just because how the green is sitting. I'd have to cut it and then cut it again. And then that's not quite long enough for what I'm thinking of doing. So let's see. If I do it this way, I might be able to get a long enough cut, but then I'll only get one. So I might end up having to piece the green together because none of the green is going to give me a long enough cut. So I'm probably going to have to cut it and then cut it again, cut a couple of pieces of the green because none of the green will give me a single cut. And that's because this is all the green I have. And this is a remnant. I have lots and lots of remnants. Let's see, do I have any more green? And I buy remnants. I like to buy remnants. I have a lot of leather that I used when I was making purses, but I also have, I buy remnants because I like to buy leather remnants because they're just you find really neat colors in them, and this was a really neat color that I found. So I'm going to cut from here. I'm going to cut these little ends off. I'm going to cut these little ends off so I'll have at least somewhat of a decent cut from this side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these little ends off, and then this is the side we're going to cut from. So I'm going to go this way. Try to cut these little ends off. I'm trying to be even. I already know I'm not going to be, but it's okay. It's okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this in here. I'm going to put this in here. Put this in here. And I still have some epoxy on here. I don't know. Has it got, okay, it's still wet. So I'm going to try to use that epoxy. So I'm going to go back through here, put this in here, and I'm going to cut where the little indentation was. I think that's where it was. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to cut there where my little indentation was, and then I'm going to put it back in there. Put it back. There we go. So I'm putting it back in. Get back in. There we go. I think it's feeding through. I won't know until I see it. Oh, there we go. I see it. So now it's feeding through, but now I gotta put this part on. I have to get this part in there too. I know. I feel like I'm fighting, fighting, trying to get my leather through. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull that through and grab that side, and then I'll grab this side. There we go. And now I'm going to pull it through and see how the green turns out. So I'm going to pull that through. It got a little narrow because I wasn't watching it. Okay, so it got a little narrow right in here. So that's not good. But let's see. So I'm going to put it right here and have a look. Yeah, it got a little narrow. I let it get a little narrow right there. And so it looks strange. It looks strange. And so I'm not going to be able to use that part. So I'm going to try to cut another piece off. And hopefully I won't let it get narrow. And I can see where I let it get narrow because it's sticking out. Oh, and I set this right in the epoxy. So it's sticking out. So I'm going to cut that little sticky out part because that's where I let it get narrow. So I'm going to cut that off because it'll just mess up the next one. So there, I cut that off and I got epoxy. I got epoxy in the spot that I don't need epoxy in, but that's okay. I'm getting epoxy on things because I wasn't paying attention. So let's try this again. Let's make our little indentation in it. There we go. And then we're going to cut right there again. And this time we're going to pay attention to where this is going. So I'm going to put it back through there. Put it back through. And we're going to put this one through because that was a problem too. So now this time I'm going to hold it so that it stays where I want it to be. There we go. Oop. Still got away from me a little bit, but not as much. There. All right, so that was better. That was a better cut, kind of, sort of. All right, and so now we're going to add this to here. I'm going to lift it up on the lip a little bit. I'm going to lift it up on the lip a little bit and then take it down the back. So can you see that? Let me see if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. So that's how I'm going to do this piece because I think that would be pretty. I think that'll be really, really nice. And actually, I'm trying to think if I want to flip it this way or if I want the rugged side of it showing. So let's see. I think I want the rugged. Well, actually, that's pretty neat too. That way is pretty neat too. But there's just something about the rugged side of it that it just is either brighter or something like that. It looks brighter. But I think I'm going to go with the other side because I kind of like the other side a little better. And our epoxy is still good. So we'll be able to use that. I made enough to cover this part too. So I'm going to go ahead and use the epoxy that's out here already because it's still some good. So I'm going to use that epoxy. So we're going to put that down. And I know a lot of people use, it's like a rubber cement, it's like a leather. But this I'm adhering to, this is actually aluminum. It's not a hard metal, it's an aluminum metal. And so I'd rather use epoxy because then I know the epoxy is not going anywhere. So that's one of the reasons why I'm using the epoxy. So there we go. On it. And I'm not sure how far it'll go down, so I'm going to just take it to right there, and then I'm going to grab my piece of leather. Was this the right one? I think that was the right one. This was the weird one. This was the weird one that got kind of messed up. So I'm going to turn it this way because I want to turn it this way. And I said I was gonna do, yeah, I said I was gonna do it on the regular side. I almost messed that one up. I almost did it on the rough side, which would have been okay because I did like the rough side too. I just decided that I wanted to do it on this side because if I decide to paint it this or paint something on this side actually um, looks better for, you know, it's smoother. So I think it would take the paint better because I have a nice leather paint as well. I'm trying to keep this side down. And I mean, look at it. Yeah, it's coming up right there. So, like I said, I have to keep watching this one. Not so much the other one, but this side is just really like, I don't want to stay. I want to do what I want to do. You know, it's having a tantrum over here. So let's get some more epoxy because we have some. And we're going to bring that epoxy down. I don't know how far down. Let's see. Okay, I think we went far enough down. So there we go. So now we have the green in. So we have that nice green in, which is fun. There we go. So I put the green in, and there we go. Look at that. I love that. I love having that green in there. I think that gives it a really cool effect. As a matter of fact, I think this whole thing has a really cool effect. So I am just loving, loving, loving it. So there we go. And I'm just moving these around because I want to make sure that they're all in the right spot and that they're not moving so much. Like I said, this one is moving, but I'm okay with it. It's moving, but it won't be moving forever. It won't. And so I'm thinking I might want to add some more of the green and I might continue another piece the down the neck on that part. And I'm thinking I might want to add some green here. I'm just looking at it to see because I think it might be nice. If not green, another color, do something kind of fun going down right there is what I'm thinking. Doing something different, but this has been fun. I like that. I like how that turned out. It was a pretty fun piece to do. What do you think? And so I think I'm going to do a little painting on it because I have some paint. I'm going to let it dry because right now it's still pretty wet. It's still wet, and I'm probably going to add some other pieces because I have this. I have this white. I mean, it's not a white, but it's a white, and so I'm wondering if that would be kind of cool to add two pieces of white right there. I think it would be kind of cool to add two pieces of white. So I'm going to cut two pieces of white out right now, and I think that's where we're going to stop with the two pieces of white. So I'm going to cut the two pieces of white out just to add there, just to add on to. I'm trying to see if do I want to cut from here because this will fit. This part will fit on there. So I'm going to cut that like that and take it through. I mean, it might just be the size I need, but it's not. It's not the size I need. So, which is okay because I'll just cut the size I need anyway. So it's not the size I need, but it's pretty close. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off right there and then put this back through because it was pretty close to the size I needed, I think. So let's send this through. Send it through. Let's see. And this is a really, really soft leather. This is really soft. So that's why it's a tussle getting it in because it's so, so soft. All right, there we go. And then we're going to just take this. Now, this has a really, this is not straight at all. So just know that what I'm doing, this is not straight at all. But This might give me enough for both sides. I'm thinking it'll give me enough for both sides. Let's see. Yep, this will give me enough for both sides, which is nice. Now, whether or not both sides will be for fitting, okay, so it's good. So this gave me enough for both sides. And of course, I'm gonna have to make some more epoxy because I used all that epoxy up. So I'm gonna make some more, and then these are the last two pieces that I'm gonna put on, and then we'll go back and we'll look at what else we want to do to it. So we're not gonna use as much epoxy because remember I had a lot of epoxy on the last time, and so I'm like, okay, that was a more epoxy than I wanted to have. And then it looks like I'm gonna have to order some more epoxy because this is almost gone. So let's put some more epoxy down. There we go. And I'm going to stir this up on here, mixing it up. I'm gonna mix this, and this will be our last epoxy mix for the evening. Yes, it's the last mix for the evening. Last mix. So this will be our last mix for the evening. Oh, I still have my Living Out Loud logos and things up, don't I? I don't have Louise Cutler Studios. I am your host, though. I am your host. So I'm going to walk over here because we still have Living Out Loud on. I know. Give me a second. Let's change our brand here because we're actually in Louise Cutler Studios. So let's change our brand up a little bit and brand us a little differently. There we go. Is that right? Louise Cutler Studio? In the studio, yeah. So now we're in the studio. Now we're in the studio with Louise. Yes. Oh, much better. All right, so now we've mixed up our epoxy. I do the Living Out Loud program on Tuesday morning, and that's why that was still up. My Living Out Loud was still up on there because I had a special guest today, and we had a lot of fun chatting. It was somebody that I've known for a long time and worked with in the youth ministry when I lived in Chicago. So it was fun interviewing him and catching up on things. So that's always a blessing to be able to do that, catch up on things with people that you know and have known for a while. So that was a lot of fun to do. So there we go. Now we got our first epoxy in. So where's our piece of white? Here's our piece of white. And so what I want to do is I'm going to take this piece of white because it's kind of weird. And I'm just going to cut it in half. And then I'll use it all the way down to what I have. And you can see it's cut really, really weird. It's cut really, really weird. So I'm gonna go in a little bit on it and just cut out some of this really large parts of it that I think will just not be right. So, all right, now we're gonna take that because we've already put our epoxy in, and we're gonna just add this onto here, and we're gonna do it on that side that I really like. We're gonna just do it on the white side. There we go. The white side. The bright side, I guess. And so I'm just going to add a little bit more of that. There we go. And I don't know what my children are doing down there, but they're making a lot of noise. So if you hear all of the noise, that's just consider it happy children. Be like, oh, she has such happy children. We'll just call them happy children. How about that? We'll just be like, oh, yes, the sound of happy children. How about that? So there we go. Now we have that white in there. Can you see that? There. So I like that. And I know it's like, well, what makes it different from silver? Actually, it is quite a bit different from the silver. And like I said, I'm not, I'm thinking that I'm going to do some painting on it. So that white will make a really, really nice painting surface for me. So now we're going to go ahead and adhere the other side right here. So we're going to go ahead and put some more epoxy down on the other side. So let's get that. done. I can feel my brush going. It's like I'm done, so I can feel the brush going. So, like I said, if you're interested in watching more of what we're doing on Creative Quarantine, definitely go and join our Creative Quarantine group on Facebook, and you'll get all of the updates. You'll be able to see all of the videos. If you want to binge watch the videos, you can actually go on YouTube and actually binge watch the videos. Creative Quarantine. Just look up Creative Quarantine and you'll find the videos. You'll find all the videos. So now I'm going to put this on. We'll put this piece on because I really, really like this. I like what's going on with this piece now. I really do. I really like what's going on with this. So I want to make sure that I have enough and that I went all the way up to where this is going to be, because the last thing you want is for things to come apart. Don't want things to come apart on you. So there we go. All right, now we've added the white leather, and like I said, I'm actually thinking about possibly painting or doing some kind of art onto that white leather, or even all of it for that matter. I'm not sure. I will see. I'll look at it tomorrow after I've put in some more things. I'm going to see what I want to do to it, because I might decide I want to paint it, or I might decide I don't want to paint it. But I don't know. So that's what it looks like right now, and this is kind of where I'm going to leave it, and we will see what transpires with it tomorrow, because I'll work on this a little bit tomorrow during Creative Quarantine, whether or not I add color or texture, or who knows, we shall see. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me this evening in my studio as I explore, I don't know, just some different stuff, some new stuff, and bring you around to different areas of my studio, because this is, like I said, this particular area of my studio, it is the back part of my studio. So it's not like I don't work in this area a lot, but I do get around to it. So as you can see, my table tells the story. My leather table, it tells the story. So thanks again for tuning in, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. My hands are really, really sticky, really, really sticky right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this, which is this fingernail polish remover. But it's what I have right now, and it works. So I'm gonna use this fingernail polish remover for my fingers, and it'll make my fingers all white anyway. So once again, thank you guys for hanging out with me and stopping by and seeing what I'm doing in my studio during Creative Quarantine.